screens. Well, there is a phablet to beat all phablets, and it's just come out, and it's from Google, and we're talking about right here. This is the Nexus 6. This is the newest Nexus release. One of the reasons people love Nexus phones, of course, is because Google makes a point of keeping it pure Android. This is the first phone to come out with the latest version of Android, 5.0 Lollipop. So it's a great phone if you want to look at Lollipop. And it takes advantage of it in some interesting ways. 5.96-inch screen. It's really a top-of-the-line device. It has Snapdragon 805 processors, quad-core, 2.7 gigahertz, 3 gigs of RAM. And the screen is another one of those 2K screens. It's 2560 by 1440.
That looks gorgeous.
Isn't it gorgeous? It's a beautiful screen. And I think it competes well against the iPhone 6 Plus and the Note 4, all three of which have high-res screens, not quite as high-res on the iPhone. I think there's one thing that I have a little bit of an issue with is they get these great big phones. They put great big batteries in them, more than 3,000 milliamp hours, but then they also put high-res screens that drain the battery faster. You know, we've noticed this with all of the QHD displays. They just don't get the battery life that something like you use the OnePlus One. That's a 1080p display. It gets great battery life. iPhone does an amazing job with its 5.5-inch display, also 1080p, great battery life. This is more like, well, I can tell you because it's been on all day. Oh, somebody charged it. Darn it! But I'm getting about 12 hours of battery life, maybe a little bit more. That's disappointing. People had hoped that Lollipop would give you better battery life, and doing things like coalescing wake locks, something Apple does very well in iOS. Maybe it's doing that, but I sure don't feel a big difference in the battery life. However, you do get, now I'm being really a little unfair to it because I don't run the Google launcher. So let me put the home, and by the way, there's the beautiful new material look. You can see it on the settings. I like Lollipop, and this is a great implementation of Lollipop. Let me go back to the Google Now launcher because you'll see a little bit more of Lollipop in the launcher, the way the screens look and all of that stuff. And of course, you got Google Now there. It comes in two colors. This is the midnight blue, which is really almost black. It's bluish black, and they have a silvery white one. It's hard to get. In fact, I got on the store and ordered it as soon as I could, and I wasn't able to get it. Now, you know, this is the Pure Edition from the Google store. Moto Maker also sells a Pure Edition, or you can go to your carrier, but then you'll get the for instance, the AT&T Death Star logo on here and some of the AT&T software as well. It's up to you. I think people who buy Nexus phones generally don't want that extra carrier cruft. So let's take a little bit of a look at the pros and cons. I should say before I go much farther that really the reason I brought the Note 4, the iPhone 6 Plus, and this phone is those are probably, if you're looking for a big phone, your three most prominent choices. And when I compare the Nexus 6 to the Note 4, I feel like the Nexus 6 is kind of the iPhone of Android phones. Does that make any sense?
Elegant.
It's elegant, it's simple, it's very clean in its look. They've got one of the things I love, they have front-facing speakers, which means the sound. In fact, let me play a little music. You want to hear a little music?
Yes,
I'll play a little music for you. The sound is good. They get loud. I'm not sure the bass is fantastic, but you wouldn't really expect that, frankly, on a little phone. It's great, though, if you're listening to podcasts or audiobooks, because the voice sound is really great. I'm having a little trouble getting the Wi-Fi. Here we go. I'll play a song here from Brian Eno and David Byrne called Very, Very Hungry. Let me turn it up and you can hear what it sounds like. It's not bad.
It's actually not bad.
You can hear some of the bass in there.
Yeah.
It's very listenable. It gets pretty loud. This is all the way up. I like the idea of left and right front-facing speakers, but just like the HTC One, which does the same thing, that means that the phone is going to have ears. It's going to be a little bit bigger at the top and the bottom, and that is maybe a negative. It has a beautiful screen, but not quite as beautiful as a Note 4. The Note 4, to me, is the Windows of Android phones. It's a little clunky, a little awkward, but a little more powerful.
It's all business.
It's all business. This is kind of looks, and it is a very elegant phone. I think they've done a very nice job. Pros and cons: state-of-the-art phone, great QHD display. It is pure Android, but on the con side, yeah, you may say, well, my Motorola makes this. Am I going to get the features of the Moto X? And you do not. It doesn't have active display. You can't shake it to turn on the camera. It doesn't know when you're sleeping. It doesn't know when you're in a meeting. You can't add third-party software to do that. But frankly, I was hoping that this would be a Moto X with a giant screen and a giant battery. It isn't. It isn't. It really is much more like the Nexus 5 with a 5.9-inch screen. That's kind of so that's a negative to me, is it doesn't have those Moto features. Also a negative, the battery life a little bit less than desirable. It's better than the Moto X. It's between 12 and 16 hours. It does support quick charging, which means you can get it back up pretty quickly. Within half an hour, you can get 50% charge. So if you do run down, as long as you've had access to a charger, you can fill it up. Of course, no removable battery, no SD card. The back does not come off easily. iFixit did give it a high repair score. They said once you do get the back off, which is not easy, you got to spudge it off, you can at least repair the stuff inside. So that's a pro as well. And maybe a con a little bit. We expect Nexus phones to be inexpensive. It's not.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same price as any of these other flagship phones.
That's the premium price.
Yeah, it's the premium price, $650 to $700, unsubsidized. The good news is it's available from all the carriers, so you will be able to get a carrier site.